gorgeous women. So excited to come and share with you all today and spend some time with you following our book Phoenix Rising. I'm really here today and was guided to brought through just how much the potency of ritual and natural cycles has had in my own journey, and how it's really informed a lot of my practices and a lot of me dropping into that deeper trust and self-love, and using it to really connect to my inner standing. It's been super potent. So I've got some things to share. I've also got at the end, I want to take you through a mini meditation, almost a bit of a guided journey. And I really want you to, it's going to be to connect with your spirit animal, and that's been such a potent practice for me, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but it feels really good. So thank you all for joining. I really want this to be interactive, so I'm going to keep checking the comments. If I miss something, I'll definitely catch up as well after the live is finished. But if you've got anything you want to ask, feel free to share that as well. So because it is definitely, for me, it's all about that beautiful co-creation between each other. So I guess with my story, a lot of my story has been coming back to myself, and as has a lot of ours. And the thing that really struck me is how busy we are, how busy in society is these days, and how our productivity is something that is measured in society as being beneficial. And we all have had those moments where we've strived and kept in that busy cycle of doing all the time, instead of coming back to being. And in that we've kind of lost that mystery with ourselves and tuning into what we really need and what we really feel in every moment. So for me, I know a lot of my journey until a good 3 years ago was so many red flags. There were so many red flags that I was seeing, that my adrenaline system and my nervous system was so in that constant fight or flight, that I was missing these red flags. In saying that, I wasn't actually missing them. I was seeing them, but I was ignoring them. We've really, in the past, have lost that connection with our bodies and to our intuition. And, by not trusting those red flags that come through and ignoring them and suppressing them, we've really lost that inner connection to our inner standing and, of what we need and what feels good for us, and when we ignore those nudges, those instinctual nudges, and they can be so quiet, but when we ignore those, that's when it starts to manifest as disease in the body and leads to diseases and things. So it's so, for me, I believe that, the being energy is such a potent part of who we're meant to be. It's, we're not here to serve at 110% all the time and be, fully in our alignment and fully in our powerful go energy. It's very much that energy of being and doing and balancing that and being present, being so present that you don't miss those tiny, small, simple things that are the magic. They're the magic in life. They're the things that they draw us in. They draw us in. They give us so much pleasure on all levels, and they just provide the most simplest but most fulfilling experiences when you're so present with it. So it's really in the last, since I've been on my journey and discovered back to my truth, I used to believe I was separate from Earth, the Earth existed around me, and that I was just, I just lived on Earth. And, it's really in the last 3 years, I've really come back to, I'm actually part of Earth. I'm not separate from it. I actually coexist with it. And when I get in that space of actually being super present and in touch with everything around me, I recognize that I'm actually a part of, the trees. I'm a part of a blade of grass. I'm, communicating with the birds. They bring me messages, as they come and sit nearby. They've got something to share. It's that coexistence. That's that, we all exist on Mother Earth and a part of Mother Earth to coexist together and co-facilitate and interdepend on each other. There's such an interdependence web. It's such a beautiful thing. So, as part of that, the natural cycles has been such an evolution for me, getting in touch with the natural cycles. And, if you've really sat with how deeply, we reflect the cycles of Earth, it is really powerful tools to work with. The seasons are so reflective. We have winter where, it's colder, you're really drawn to going within, really drawn to staying within your house where it's warm, where you can generate that warmth. You don't want to necessarily go out too much of a night because it's dark and it's cold, and you prefer to stay in and snuggle under the rug. It's that real reflective, that hibernation, that real bear energy. And that, we need that as much as the summer energy where, it's warm, we're, out there and we're enjoying life and we're, in the fullness of who we are, because it's that energy. And there's no surprise that we feed off that. And there's, so many studies that have shown that, there is people that go into that seasonal depression. And it's just a highlight of, the duality and what we need is both in our life, is not being totally in the light all the time. We have to explore that dark side, the reflective side, to then balance and come back up into the light even brighter. So I was just looking at comments. I get carried away sometimes. So, so, even just recently, we've talked about the seasons, but, the weather as well is so reminiscent of everything that takes place within us. We see these raging bushfires, that we've had in the past, in summer. And that fire and all these natural disasters live within us. That fire is something that we use as a form to burn, to destroy, to actually crumble everything down into ash, which is just like the phoenix rising. And from then, it's also beautiful germination, beautiful new seeds can sprout and come into existence and be even brighter and more powerful and magical than they were before. We've had, in Australia here, we've had lots of tornadoes recently, which has been quite unusual. But again, that wind is clearing everything away. It clears away what no longer serves. The water, the rain, it clears, it's purifying, it cleanses. And they're all things that live within us. What we see out there is exactly within us, and that's the power that we can generate within us when we really tap into all of those feelings and events and, the 4 different elements are so powerful. So it's super potent to just really sit and stop and go, wow, what I see is actually something that lives within me as well. And that's something you can harness in your own life. You can't have, I believe you can't have the absolute joy and the beauty unless you have the destruction, unless you actually burn and let go and close doors to open up to greater light, to, the better and the more evolved with you as you grow to come in. You've got to actually let go, and you've got to go through that internal storm of your own. The thing that I'm most passionate about is, the moon cycles and our bleed cycles, and I feel like they're quite intermixed. For me, having endometriosis and being on a pill for, a good 25 years of my life, I didn't have that bleed cycle. I'd lost that connection to that. And, coming back to that, it is so potent, I don't know how many of you actually, when you actually get your bleed, the day you get your bleed, how you react to that. And I just want you to really sit with that and see whether it actually is something that you honor and you truly have reverence for, or whether you actually, curse it, whether it's, it's something that you find is a hindrance, something that you find limits you, because, that in itself is powerful just to connect with, because, our bleed is super potent as women, and whether you're still bleeding or not, exactly the same energy, you can correlate that with the moon energy. For me, I've been guided in the last year to give blood back to the earth. Our menstrual blood is so full of amazing, rich nutrients. And it's like the shedding of our uterus, it's shedding all the things that no longer serve. It's correlating to that new moon energy where, it's in total darkness, where we go into that inner reflection, that stillness. It's when we're clearing out, like we're getting rid of stuff. And that's exactly what our menstrual bleed does. It releases everything that doesn't serve from our body. And to give that back to the earth is actually giving those nutrients back to where it came from. And it's just a beautiful cycle. So that menstrual time, like I used to be, even when I first started this journey, I'd get my bleeds and I'd be, still go, push, rush, doing everything that I actually was doing without stopping to go, wow, no, when I get my bleed, I now honor it and I actually sit with it and I use it to, the first couple of days of my bleed, I don't do any hard core exercise, I don't do anything, that's too push energy, that's too force, it's too doing. It's a very being time where I can come back in, I can rest, I can reflect. And that by doing that, it leads into a very intuitive phase for me, where lots of downloads, lots of information come flooding through, and it's that releasing energetically as well as through my body. I've even had red tent ceremonies recently where I've just been guided to sit when I've had my bleed, to have a ceremony, to honor it. I've used menstrual blood on my medicine rattle because it's powerful. It's actually super powerful. It's one of our superpowers as women. And actually painted my body in menstrual blood. And it's just dropping into that total honor and reverence for it, because it's part of us being a woman, and it's the same cycle as the moon cycle. The ovulation phase of our monthly cycle is connected to the full moon. So the ovulation phase is very much, we're in that attracting mode. We're in our being out there in the world, in our fullest light. The full moon reminds us of that. It's when it's its fullest, it's its brightest, it's illuminating its light, and all it's doing is a direct reflection of what's inside of us. So it's just illuminating, exactly where we are. So for me, it's a reminder of that. All of those dualities, they all exist within us in the human experience as we go through those same phases. Men actually go through a lot of these phases that we go through in a day, compared to over that month period that we do. So, that's why you might see, they have four, almost like 4 seasons in a day, I guess you could call it. But, if you can really get in touch with those moon cycles and your bleed cycles, so if you don't bleed, get in touch with the moon cycles, and, it really brings you back into when you're at your peak, when you can really put yourself out there, as opposed to when you need to retreat and go into like almost a planting phase, a germination phase where you're, tapping into what you want to bring forth, what you want to manifest, and sitting with it, percolating with it, doing the inner deep work, the reflection, the evaluation, things that you're ready to let go of, intentions of what you're bringing in, to then in the fullness of the moon receiving and being out there and putting those plans into action and taking that active stance towards it. It's something that I'm really passionate about. The menstrual bleed cycles is, like, it's amazing. A lot of our PMS symptoms, I know before my bleed, I feel like it's very much a clearing week before it. I see old stories coming up that are ready to be delved into deeper, that are ready to be released and actually reflect. And then, when I get my bleed, I celebrate it, and I don't get any menstrual cramps. I used to have endometriosis, so I used to be crippled with them, and I just love them now. And it's just really dropping into that, our feminine even deeper, and honoring, those things that I know for me, when I was in high school and, I first started bleeding, I bled through one day and it was the most embarrassing thing I'd ever experienced. If that happened now, like I would actually honor it. I'd revere it, because that's such a valuable part of who I am and what I bring to this earth and what I give back. So, yeah, and Christy, that's totally true. It's looking, just taking them into consideration to go, when will I be, most available? When will I have that greatest energy surge to put all this into practice? And when do I need to, pull back a bit? And I do base, a lot of what I do now around the moon cycles and my bleed cycles, which is super, super potent. So, yeah, and look, we all have rituals as well in our life. Ritual is something that, as humans, that's what we do. We have ritual. So, it's asking, what does my body need right now? And that's something that I found really powerful, that I do every single day. I ask my body, what do you need in this moment? And it may be something that doesn't make sense at all. You may just be told, go and swim at the beach, or, go and sing. And it might not make sense, but that's what your body's telling you it needs. And when you start to honor that, it's life-changing. It's really guides you with where to move to, where to move to next. Because I know, like, I can get caught in the doing energy and in the head of going, okay, what's next? What have I got to do next? And then if I really actually step back and ask my body what it needs right then, sometimes it just needs rest. And by honouring that, I can actually function more once I've sat back and rested, to then move forward with and harness such a deeper, stronger energy, and it's more fulfilling. So yeah, I just encourage you to really, sit with that, see how it feels for you. Reach out if, you have any questions about it. I'm more than happy to share more. And our rituals is such a super potent thing to do. But, I know for me, in the past, my rituals were very routine. So it's a really important to, I guess, see which rituals you have in your life that are actually intentional and conscious. They're coming from a conscious choice, rather than routine and just something that, that you haven't quite interrupted, to see whether it actually still serves you, or whether it's what you need in that moment. I just, ask you, I guess right now, what did you have for breakfast today? Is it something that you had yesterday? Is it something that you have most days? Or is it something that you got up and went, actually, I feel like this today? Those little things, those rituals are super important. Routine is important, but really honouring your body is super important. So, I invite you, if you do have the same thing for breakfast every day, to mix it up. And just when you get out of bed, say, what do I feel like today? And, honour that and have that. Because we can, as humans, we can get very caught in the following what we do every day. So, driving the same way to work. I used to do that all the time. And it's by pattern interrupting and going, oh, what can I do a little bit differently today? What's going to feed my soul today? Those rituals are so important. So, I guess, to just looking at that morning routine, what what do you do when you first wake up? You know, do you jump on social media? You know, do you just jump out of bed, go to the toilet, get in the shower, throw some clothes on, you know, go to work? What I really have found, you know, valuable for me, and I invite you to, you know, just really explore in your own lives, is to sit with how you can set up your day, you know. Set the day off with the intention that you want it to be. You know, if you want to have a day that's full of ease and joy and love, you know, make that in your intention, you know, of the morning. But also some powerful practices that I've used are, you know, meditation, gratitude, affirmations, movement. So it's all about just feeling into what, you know, your body needs and what's going to put you in that beautiful energetic space where you're feeling full within yourself, where your light's illuminated, where you're ready to blaze, you know, out in the world, and you're feeling strong in yourself. You're feeling in your light body, you know, like you're not feeling weighed down with the to-do lists of the day. You go into that day from a place of empowerment where you can really step into your truth and, yeah, ignite exactly what you have that comes to you in that day. You know, it might be things that you've got on your to-do list. It might be totally different as well. And it's embracing the both and merging and opening to the magic and the mystery of what that actually entails. Yeah, so just looking, I've got notes as well. I've got made like mind maps. Even another thing for me too is your energetic rituals. So they're super, super important. Every interaction we have, every connection we have, we form an energetic cord with that other person. So it's super important to cleanse your energy and to have an energy ritual, you know, each day, so that your energy is yours and that the other person's energy stays with them. So if you haven't already practiced that, just something really simple you can do to set that up at the start of the day is to actually set a bubble around you, an energetic bubble, and just visualize it and just ask that, you know, only the energy that's aligned with you actually comes into your space. All other energy is returned back to sender. It's super, super powerful. You know, you may have noticed, you know, when you do have an interaction or a connection with particular people in your life, you know, you feel quite drained, you feel quite tired afterwards. A lot of the time you've actually taken on their energy. So it's so important to set those energetic boundaries, that bubble in place, to then be able to really just, it's like an invisible shield almost. It just, you know, keeps your energy intact, keeps you sitting in the seat of who you are without taking on their energy as well. Eating is a beautiful ritual. So I'm very much all about, you know, being that present, that you can derive pleasure from everything in your life. You know, orgasms, foodgasms, naturegasms, you know, we're here for pleasure. We are here for pleasure and to experience all the pleasure. So, you know, really thinking about when you eat, you know, how mindful are you when you eat? Are you really present with, you know, when you're eating and what you're eating, and, you know, really getting into the smell of that, what you're eating, and the taste and even the touch, you know. Eating with your fingers is such a powerful tool. You know, as babies, you know, we were all invited to eat with our fingers, and it's that sensory, that, you know, texture component, and it got all over us, but that was half of the fun, because we were exploring all of it and being, you know, in touch with all of it. So, you know, just, yeah, I invite you to actually really tap into what, you know, you want to eat and really revel in it and enjoy it and get as much pleasure out of it as you possibly can, because by getting the pleasure out of those things, it invokes through the rest, you know, of your life. And it's super powerful. So, yeah, so for me, you know, rituals for me is definitely, you know, like it's every day. Nature for me is a ritual, whether it's by the water, whether it's in the bush, And meditation is super, super potent, you know, to get and connect with that inner standing, to allow the mind to become still enough. You know, it never becomes silent, but it's a case of getting into that space where you can be in that stillness of your spirit, of your soul. And by doing that, you know, the thoughts are still there, but you just see them flood by. And it's getting to that place where you can do that, because then other things will drop in that will guide you, you know, exactly what you may need in that moment, or an idea, inspiration, you know, those kind of things. And that's when you start to, you know, really trust your instincts and trust your intuition, when you get into that place of stillness where you can discern, you know, between what actually feels good and, you know, those nudges that are like, no, that's not good for me, and listening to them and acting on them. So, you know, for me, ceremony has been super potent in the meditation process, and I use a lot of cacao in my ceremony and connecting with the ancestors and the land, and as well as that, oracle cards. So each of you may have different rituals that you want to explore, and, you know, your rituals are unique to you. You know, my rituals may not work for you, but it's something that, you know, tapping into what feels good for you, and by asking yourself that question all the time, saying, you know, what actually feels good for me right now. That's what is super potent and super powerful in everything that, you know, you harness stepping forward in life. So, you know, I do encourage you to really just sit with, you know, what feels good, and go with that, because it really leads you into beautiful places. And it's a very feminine way to, you know, live life. Instead of that doing and that hustle energy, it's being, and it's listening to those divine downloads and that divine inspiration to then harness and move forward with. So, yeah, I was just looking at the time. I get carried away. Yeah, so I wanted a guided journey. So, you know, this is just something else that may be a beautiful tool for you, a beautiful ritual for you to use each day. But, you know, animals are so potent in their meanings, you know, and when you think of, you know, a dog, or when you think of a possum or a snake, you yourself will come up with different characteristics or different words that represent what that animal actually means to you. And that's, you know, that you can use that to harness. So something that I've, you know, used in the past as a ritual is, you know, every morning is to go, okay, what animal's going to guide me today? And letting that animal just drop in and trusting whatever comes through. You might see it, you might just hear, you know, what it is. However it comes through, it's just going, okay, cool. And then actually sitting with it and going, okay, you know, what's 3 words that I can really, you know, that really strike with me in regards to that animal. And it may be, you know, that if it's a dog, you know, for me, it comes up that, you know, they're loyal, they're affectionate, they're collaborative, you know, they're community, that kind of energy. And, you know, that may be something that you can harness that day to go, oh, okay, that's something. They're the energies that I'm going to embody more in my life today, and use those as a tool in your own life. Yeah, so I wanted to just take you on a bit of a guided journey for the last part of this session, to just drop you in deeper and connect to yourself, and really engage you with all of your senses as part of this journey, and be present, you know, to what comes through. You know, you may even find that you don't have an animal that comes through in this moment, and that's perfectly okay, because, you know, it may come through afterwards or later on today or tonight. You know, you may just be walking outside and see something and go, oh, that's my animal. So, you know, just really be present with what comes through, and enjoy the journey. So I'll get you to just close your eyes. Find somewhere really comfortable to sit if you're not already. And close down your eyes and just really start now to draw some really deep conscious breaths. So allow yourself to inhale, filling up your stomach, allowing the energy to rise up through the ribs and the chest and all the way up to the collarbones. And then just exhale, sigh it out, let it all out, make some noise, releasing that energy. And then inhaling again, breathing in, filling up the abdominals, allowing that air to massage the ribs and the chest, the collarbones. And then exhaling slowly out of the mouth. And then inhaling once more, really feeling the expansion, the stillness, the presence within. Exhaling. And just feeling now, imagining from the soles of your feet, some roots now starting to branch out. And these roots, they now draw down through the earth's surface. They start to grow and explore through the soil, through the rocks, through the clay, through the crystals, all the beautiful structures of the earth. And as they continue to grow down, just pay attention to the size that they are, how they're forming, how they're deepening, whether they're thick or thin, whether they're straight or curved. And as they continue to draw down, feeling into what nutrients your body needs right now that earth can give to you in this moment, and inviting those to come up through the roots, infusing into every cell of your being. As your roots continue down, you sense at the center of the earth there's this beautiful clear quartz crystal. It's got rainbows of light emanating in every direction from it. And you allow your roots now to draw down, to wrap around this beautiful crystal. Allow your roots to infuse this energy, to bring back this energy through your roots into your body. Staying connected and feeling your heartbeat, your breath now connected with the heartbeat of the earth. You sense something in your left hand. It's small, it's tiny. It almost has a velvety feel. And when you look down at it, you notice it's a little bud, a little seed. You take your right hand and hold it, cup it between your hands now, feeling a warmth emanate, feeling it starting to grow through the energy that you hold in your hands. It starts to open from your hands, and you place your palms up and watch it continue to grow in front of you, blossoming into this beautiful, tree full of branches, a beautiful canopy of leaves in the richest, most royalest green. As it gets bigger, you place it on the ground next to you and watch as it continues to draw taller and taller up towards the cosmos, reaching for the light. You notice on this tree, on its trunk now, there's this doorway. It's inviting. It's got a little black knob where you can access it. It's calling out to you. So you start to walk over to it now. And as you open this doorway, you step into this dark tunnel that starts to transport you down deeper. And you allow yourself to draw deeper into the earth, into this darkness. And as you arrive, you feel beautiful grass beneath you. It's soft, it's lush. As you touch it, you feel the dew, the wetness. Yet from above, you feel the warmth of the sunshine illuminating. It smells fresh. It smells peaceful. And you can feel like a magical energy that's all around you now. As if someone's sitting next to you, excited to share, excited to be with you, reveal themselves and messages that are for you right now. As you begin to open your eyes, you notice that there's an animal sitting with you, an animal ready to share, to be with you. They may wish to bring through some messages for you. They may wish to sit with you and be present. I invite you now for the next minute to be with them, to open your heart to anything they want to gift you, to share with you and present you with, that will assist in your guidance in this moment. And I'll come back to meet you on this grass in a moment's time. Beginning now to thank that animal that has joined you, that has shared with you. You may wish to open your heart to it, to give it a pat. Paying gratitude for its visit in your life today and allowing it to pass through any last pieces of wisdom that are meant for you right now. admiring the richness of what exists around you in this moment, the lush greenness of the grass, the smell of stillness and peace, the magical energy. It's almost like crystalline energy that you can see all around you. Feeling the dew on the grass, its lushness, its softness. And as you close your eyes again and feel the warmth of the sunshine, illuminating, invigorating, you feel your animal now start to move away. And as they do, you feel yourself now being transported back up through that black tunnel, guiding you back up. As you draw deeper and deeper, you feel yourself coming back up to the doorway of that tree. You open the doorway and come back out into the place that you're sitting, closing the black knob. And as you step away from that tree, you look back at it. You look at its depth, how tall it has grown, the rich canopy of those royal green leaves, extending towards the light and the sun, yet deeply anchored and grounded in the earth. As you watch it and admire it, it starts to shrink before your eyes now, getting smaller and smaller until once again you can hold it in the palm of your hands. It continues to get smaller and smaller until once again you can cup it and it draws back into that tiny bud, has a soft velvety feel. This time you place it just in your right hand, holding it up to your heart space. You allow your heart to draw in this beautiful bud now. It's like this beautiful golden energy that you're taking in to illuminate your heart, illuminate your being, gifting it back to yourself now. And then beginning to draw back down to that beautiful rainbow energy of that clear quartz. Feeling your roots begin to unwrap and unravel. Feeling them now draw up through all the structures of the earth, the rocks, the crystals, the soil, the clay, taking with you any nutrients, minerals, vitamins that your body needs in this moment. And as you feel those roots now retracting, allowing them to come back through the earth's surface, back through the soles of your feet, and allowing that portal to now gently close so you can continue to keep all of that beautiful energy within your body now. Feeling illuminated, expanded. And just feeling the gratitude towards that animal that's shown itself to you today as you begin to bring your presence back into this moment, as you begin to reacquaint with your body, still beating with the earth, still breathing with the earth, but feeling those little movements within your fingers, within your toes, and allowing your eyes to reopen when you feel comfortable, when you feel ready. So as you do come back, I'd love you to either share now or when you watch, you know, what animal came through for you? What did that mean for you? What significance, you know, did that have for you in this moment, in this point, you know, of being for you? Or, you know, I'd love to hear and see, you know, what that reflected for you. You know, if you are interested in really connecting more to your inner standing through ceremony, feel free to reach out through here. You know, I'm doing a new moon cacao ceremony, which includes guided journeys like those that are, you know, much longer, to connect with yourself, as well as breath work and embodied movement and beautiful, nourishing things to really foster that connection back to the body and to intuition and spirit. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts, love to hear what came through. I'll share the link in the comments for my ceremony coming up. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out, come along, explore. But yeah, I just invite you to really sit with what ritual, you know, are you consciously choosing, you know, what ritual, you know, can you change and make more conscious in your lives and connect back to the natural rhythms and the cycles of you as part of Earth. Hope you enjoyed it, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you all. If you have any questions, feel free to post anything underneath. I'm happy to come back and, you know, be in that real co-creation and answer any questions and see what came through for you. So sending everyone lots of love. I hope you have the most amazing day, and I look forward to seeing all the other beautiful authors and their masterclasses over the week and what they have to share. Thank you so much. Sending lots of love. See you all later.